But let's start with discipline. How do you become disciplined? Are you born to be disciplined?
You know who gave it to me? My parents, my dad. I was raised in a disciplined household. You can choose not to be that. It is a daily choice that we make or don't make. The workload is too much for the average person. If you have a 9 to 5, you have children, you have a life, there's no room for recovery now. Stimulate the muscles, stimulate the body, stimulate the nervous system, but don't annihilate it. We have this $2.5 million facility with all the Sornex high-tech equipment, and we have nobody in it. I was in there on a Saturday by myself in a tank top and shorts, and the Secretary of Defense rolls up on my facility.
Oh, wow.
Yup. Hey, I need everybody. He's like, hey, we heard this was popping up. Show us what you got. He took our documentation and went, wherever he went, and we started getting more phone calls because the Army at the time was trying to develop something like this. We were the first ones to do it.
How important is nutrition in your daily routine, in your workout?
It's the second most important thing I do throughout my day. The first is sleep, right? Put the phone, the TV away an hour prior, make sure your room is cold. For the average everyday guy, you need to have some protein, some carbs, some fats. I don't care what it looks like or what the meal is. That everybody on this chicken breast and broccoli diet, that doesn't last.
Welcome everybody to the Ed Fernandez Show. I told you I was gonna do stuff different in 2024. We got this bad mamma jamma here. This guy spent a lot of time in the military, the Army Rangers 75th Regiment. He actually, because he was able to do that, he passed some courses, the Master Fitness course, the Reebok CrossFit Coaches course, Technical Athlete Performance Center that he created. He did all this stuff, and he's here to teach us how to stay fit, how to feel good, how to have discipline. Rick, welcome to the show, big man.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Awesome, man. So we're going to talk about fitness.
Yes, sir.
Working out. So I've been doing, CrossFit for about 8 years. Right? I know, for 8 years. And the reason why I started doing that is because, I gave up basketball. I used to play basketball all the time, and I'm very competitive, so I got to win. And so CrossFit kind of allowed me to have that competitive nature, trying to beat the clock, trying to beat this other dude with time and strength and things like that. But as I've getting older, I am 56 now come March, I didn't realize that the stress on my body was producing cortisol, and this cortisol was making me fat.
Right.
But man, I was suffering because I didn't have no carbs. I'm not saying CrossFit don't work.
Sure.
But why doesn't it work for guys my age?
So my analogy is a car, right? I got a Porsche, I got a Ferrari, I got a Lambo. They're all dope. They all do different things very well, right? CrossFit it gets people into the gym. It gets people motivated to be in the gym. It forms a community. But the workload is too much for the average person. And I say that I'm not calling you an average person, but if you have children, you have a 9 to 5, you have a life that you want to sustain, there's no room for recovery now. And you've done this workout that busted your butt for 45 minutes to an hour, and then you go to work and bust your butt for another 8 hours. And you go home, what do you got left? Right? So you have to find that middle ground. You have to train the body. You want to stimulate, not annihilate. I picked that up from one of my coaches. He used to tell me that all the time. He's like, hey, stimulate the muscles, stimulate the body, stimulate the nervous system, but don't annihilate it because you have to recover, right? It's your bank account. So if I spend all my money on this one workout, I have no money left. The next workout, I'm in debt. We don't want to be there. We want to be able to work out, sustain the workout, recover, do it again.
So I remember, I would work out and I can only do 3 days because the recovery was horrible.
Yes, sir.
Right? And I noticed if I didn't roll out, like this week, I haven't worked out all week.
Right.
Because my
I almost texted you this morning.
My glute was jacked.
Yeah.
And it's now I'm just barely getting back to the thing. So if I don't roll out, loosen out my muscles, loosen up my joints, I can't do these cleans and squats and all this other stuff. What is it about discipline? So let's just take it down to the foundation, right? There are everyone has their theory of what's a good workout and why you should do this and that. But the first thing you got to do is get up.
You got to put your shoes on. You got to walk out of the door. That's the hardest part. And for me still, 39 years old, been working out since I was 11. That's still the hardest part.
You know, obviously, former Army Ranger, 75th Regiment, you went out there and did your thing. You know, obviously, you got to be very disciplined to do that. But let's start with discipline. How do you become disciplined? Are you born to be disciplined? What is that?
When I knew the topics were coming, I was like, oh, discipline, this is easy. You know who gave it to me? My parents, my dad. I was raised in a disciplined household. But if I'm being honest about it, they set the table, but if I didn't decide to sit at the table and eat, I'm not going to be disciplined. So it's absolutely inside. It is you making the choice to be disciplined every single day. There's theories that say people are born with it, but how are you born with discipline? You're a baby. You don't know anything, right? You know me. That's it. Again, you can have parents that are super disciplined and they set the table for you, but you can choose not to be that. It is a daily choice that we make or don't make.
Where does that tenacity come from? Is tenacity, just as discipline, is discipline a learned skill set? Or is it something you're born with? And then when you come to discipline, there's got to be tenacity. Where does tenacity come from? How do you get tenacity? I mean, how does that start?
I truly believe tenacity comes from your environment, right? As much as discipline can be viewed from your environment, tenacity is from your environment, right? If you don't come from a competitive, I don't care if it's your parents, your friends, your social groups, that tenacity is built there because one day you're tired of getting your butt kicked.
So give me an example, right? So my viewers may want to, hey, I want to start working out, man. I don't feel good. I don't, you know, I'm tired of gaining this weight, yada, yada, yada. Okay, I need discipline. Great. Everyone tells me I need discipline. Okay, I need tenacity. Well, everyone tells me, what are some tools that can help me get to discipline?
For me, it's goal setting. If you are starting out, we all need discipline, right? Some of us
So tell me your daily routine. If it's goal setting, what's your daily routine?
First things first, get out of bed.
Okay.
Get out of bed. The alarm goes off. Don't hit the snooze button. Get out of bed. I go and have my protein shake, get my 35 grams of protein in. I put my clothes on. And I might sit down and be like, man, I don't want to do this, right? But you talk yourself out of that. Like, hey, you got to go get this done because you set this goal, right? You have to hold yourself accountable. Put my shoes on, walk out the door, get to the gym. And as soon as I get to the gym and you feel that buzz from the gym, I got a workout partner, we work together. You feel that buzz from your partner. Maybe you don't want to be there either. We get the first set done, everything goes away. You're there. Find enjoyment in doing the hard things.
So I'll use me for an example, right? I got this dog, Avor, right?
Land shark,
my best friend. He's my homie.
Yeah.
But man, he gets up at 4:30 every morning, right? Which is great because I got to go to the gym. But as soon as I sit up on the bed, my head starts talking to me, right? Like, oh, you don't need to go today.
You made it.
You're sore. You're tired. You've already lost 14 pounds. You can take the day off. I got to say, and then, you know what? It may sound cuckoo, but I got to talk to myself.
1,000%.
Right? I got to talk to myself and say, shut up. And I just start moving, getting up, put my clothes on. Is that, to me, that's the hardest part of getting to the gym.
Yes, sir. And to the people watching, understand that this doesn't go away. You've been working out your whole life. I've been working out my whole life. I know guys that have been working out their whole lives and are pro lifters. We all go through that same struggle. So it's not new to anyone. It's what you do when you're in the midst of that struggle. When that voice says, hey, Ed, you made it. Hey, Rick, you made it. Hey, you're already in shape. Hey, you can take a day off. If I'm not true to that goal and I'm not holding myself accountable, I'll backslide. But I make the choice, like, shut that voice up, go get it done. And walk out of the door and get to the gym.
What would be the hardest mental and physical training you ever had to go through? I got to hear this.
It's not going to be what people think, right? You read my bio. I've done some cool stuff.
So I'm thinking you carrying logs and you going and they keeping you underwater until you almost drown. That's what I'm thinking.
So that stuff's hard. Don't get it twisted. That is not easy. The hardest training, I would say, because it's all training, even if you were the leader of the training, my time as a drill sergeant was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Why?
So I'm in charge of 220 knuckleheads that just came from mom's couch or dad's couch.
Oh, these are brand new guys.
Listen, they can't tie their shoes. They can't wash their butt. They don't know how to use a wash machine. So I have to take all that.
That's our military? Lord Jesus, help us.
That's the start, right?
Okay.
They come to me as a raw they come to me as a raw block of clay. I have to form it, right? And you're talking about every social setting, demographic you could ever imagine. I had a kid that had never seen a black person before. I'm his first glimpse of leadership.
Listen, you kidding me? Where'd he live?
The Ozarks. The mountains in Arkansas and other places in the...
Oh, is it that like the show, The Ozarks, that
yes.
place?
He'd never seen a black person before. This kid is staring. It's day one.
Wow.
We get him off the bus. We got their bags. We're, doing the thing, doing the drill sergeant thing. And he's looking at me real funny. And I was like, cool. I put my hat on his head. I'm like, Private, you got a problem with me? He's like, yes, drill sergeant. And I'm like, oh, what's your problem? He's like, drill sergeant, I don't be disrespectful, but I've never seen a black person before. I've never experienced a black person before.
Wow.
I'm his first introduction to not only a black person, but leadership. I got this big hat on my head. I'm angry. And he's just like, I don't know what to do with myself. So imagine taking all that, putting them in bays of 60 to 63. You've got 4 bays of that. And you have to monitor everything they do from the time I'm there when they wake up. I'm there when they eat breakfast. I'm there when they shower. I'm there when they eat lunch. I'm there teaching them how to use a rifle and how to walk in a formation. And I'm there to put them to bed. And then I go home.
So you would say that was the hardest
by far
mental and physical training you ever had to do?
90-hour work weeks.
Okay.
I can't eat in front of them. I don't drink water in front of them.
You can't do none of that.
Right. I'm exercising when they're exercising, but because we're exercising at such a low level, I'm getting out of shape. So I have to find more time for myself, right?
Oh.
I'm there at 4:30 or 5 o'clock. So that means I got to get up at 3. I didn't get home till 7 or 8, right? So I'm not eating, I'm not sleeping well, I'm not training to my capacity. I have to find extra time to train. And then I'm dealing with all the personalities that these kids bring to the table. Mommy issues, daddy issues, I can't, I won't, you name it. By far the hardest job I've ever had, but the most gratifying.
So how did you get there though? So I get it. So you're already at some type of shape.
Mm-hmm.
You're dealing with some guys and gals that never have done anything before.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing, beginner stuff with these people because they can't even do a pull-up or a push-up or anything like that.
I had a kid that couldn't do a sit-up.
Right? You can't even do a sit-up.
Right.
You're working out with them, which doesn't require any effort on your part.
Right. But it's still miles on my body.
Miles on your body. But how did you get to that point where you realize I can't continue doing this unless I add more hours and lift and do whatever I got to do to stay where I am? There had to be a starting point.
I had I don't know if it was it felt like a heart attack during one of my cycles. We're in the chow hall. They've got 30 minutes to get 200 dudes to the chow hall. So if they've got 30 minutes to get there and each private has 7 minutes to eat, I've got 3 minutes to eat.
That's like being locked up or something.
It's I'm a prison guard with a cool hat on.
Oh my God.
So I'm yelling at this private and I'm standing next to the salad bar. And I remember when I was done yelling at him, I kind of had I was seeing spots, but to the point where I couldn't see. So I grabbed the rail of the salad bar and I was like, you have to make a change right now. It's like, you can't keep this up or you're going to be in trouble. And that was the day. It was like the discipline to say, hey, I've got 30 minutes here. I can get something in.
Oh, you weren't eating?
I couldn't, you didn't have time. If you're doing the job as a drill sergeant effectively, you don't have time for anything.
Really?
1,000%. And you're talking about not just physical change, you're talking about hormonal change. This is the most stressful job in the Army. Combat's stressful. This was the most stressful job in the Army because it is the job where if you jack something up, you lose your career.
Got it, because they're all depending on you. The higher ups are depending on you to prepare these people
because
so
some of these
move
kids,
to this next level.
Some of these kids left me and went straight to deployment.
Oh, shoot.
So for the infantry, you have the OSIT, 1 station unit training. Those soldiers do 9 weeks of basic training that every single soldier does with me. And that last day of the 9 weeks, it's time to train you to go fight.
And they can leave.
And then when they leave and go to their unit, if they don't have a follow-on like RASP or Ranger stuff or 18X, your butt's going to a unit that's probably mobilizing to go overseas.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
So you have a huge responsibility to get these people prepared.
Huge.
So how important is nutrition in your in your daily routine, in your workout?
It's the second most important thing I do throughout my day. The first is sleep.
Okay. What if I don't sleep?
You need to eat more then.
Okay.
Right? You need to.
So
if
eat
I'm not,
more. So what? Eat some pancakes, right? Some donuts.
No, obviously not donuts.
Okay,
And honestly, like if you're at a space where you got an elite level athlete, he can probably get away with a donut or two, right?
Yeah.
But for the average everyday guy, like you need to have some protein, some carbs, some fats. I don't care what it looks like or what the meal is. Everybody on this chicken breast and broccoli diet, like that doesn't last because it's not enjoyable, right?
It's boring.
Have something that's enjoyable, have it in moderation, but make sure you're doing it 3 to 4 times a day. Make sure you're eating 3 or 4 times a day.
What is the cheapest meal prepping that I can do? So look, staying in shape costs money.
1,000%.
It's, if you're not eating right, you can go out and run, you can do some walking. But, as we get older, our muscles start actually diminishing.
Atrophy, yes. Absolutely.
Right? Atrophy. Okay, atrophy. So obviously I need to build muscle to stay and keep my joints good and all that other stuff. But some of the listeners may not have the means to have a gym membership or, to spend all the money on this food. What is the cheapest way that someone can meal prep to the point to where it's still doing good to your body so that you have the energy to work out?
If I could pick 4 things forever, it would be a lean red meat.
Okay.
It would be jasmine rice, no brown rice. Always
Why?
white rice. The body can't break down brown rice as efficiently and use it as a fuel as it can with white rice. Some kind of high fiber green, broccoli, spinach.
Which is cheap, right?
Cheap. And avocado.
Avocado.
Yep. Everybody likes avocado. And they're high in good fats. And those are the things you need to help sustain and maintain the body.
So if you do that.
I get away with that $50 for a week.
$50 a week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. That works. So I remember, learning how to do this CrossFit stuff. So cleans, jump squats, burpees. I mean, stuff is painful, right? Running up and down 5 flights of stairs with a 45-pound plate.
Unnecessary.
I mean, it was brutal.
It's brutal, and sometimes we need that competitive spirit to be stoked.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary for day-to-day.
Unnecessary. So do you prefer powerlifting or calisthenics?
I think we should partake something from all of it, but we should modify it in a way where we're not killing ourselves every day when we work out, like in a CrossFit workout. You guys do a hero workout every day. A hero can't be a hero every day unless he's supernatural. It is what it is, right? The most important exercises that you can do for the human body is a squat and some kind of hinging pattern and a carry, right? A hinging pattern being a deadlift. Maybe you don't have the technical prowess to do a deadlift, maybe a stiff leg deadlift, but a squat, right? Because it looks like what we do every day. We sit down, stand up. What happens when we get older? We atrophy. If we don't strengthen those movement patterns when we have the ability, when we get old, we lose them. And guess what? Now you're in an old folks home and somebody's helping you out of a chair, right?
Oh,
or you drop
man.
something on the ground, and because you can't hinge and you didn't strengthen those hinging movement patterns, you've been down there to pick up that pen, and guess what? You calling somebody, hey, I'm stuck. Stuck where? I can't stand back up, right? And a carry, we carry things every day. So why don't we do it in our workouts and strengthen that movement pattern so we can continue to do it every day?
So you're saying squatting, benching, hand cleans, deadlifts, curls, still the name of the game?
Minus the hang clean and the curl, absolutely.
Why minus the hand clean and the curl? Because
So
I
how
was
long-
doing curls with you.
Now, yes, that's icing on the cake.
Okay.
What did we do before we did curls?
I don't remember.
We probably did some stuff with our legs,
Okay.
right? We probably did some stuff with our back, right? The main movers of the human body. The problem with the hang clean, and it's a great explosive exercise, it's an Olympic lift. The Olympics is every 4 years. The average human does not need, right? The average
your
human
point.
doesn't need a hang clean for a lot of reasons. If it takes me 6 months to teach you or another athlete a hang clean, you never increase weight, you never increase any of the nervous system properties needed to make you stronger, right? We want to stimulate the muscle, but if I've only got you doing a broomstick for 2 months, where did I go?
just to learn the movement, right?
I can teach you how to do a banded deadlift and elicit the same response that I need and increase the weight over time because the learning curve is shorter.
So, so no hand cleans, no burpees.
For what?
I mean, yeah, I never got that.
To me, a burpee is for a coach that doesn't have any creativity.
Okay. That's interesting. Tell
me
a
burpee get your heart rate up, right?
Tell me about creativity. What would I do if a burpee is going to get my heart rate up to get my cardio down? Mm-hmm. What can I do that is an alternative to that's not as damaging to my body?
I could push a sled.
Okay, that works.
Yeah, there's certain areas of the sled push. There's no load on the body. There's no concentric load on the body. So I have you push a sled. I can get your heart rate up real quick with a sled within 10 feet, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to do 20 burpees.
Right.
So we're keeping miles off the body.
Right.
Right. We're keeping the recovery time in a shorter period. Right. I can, instead of having you doing 20 burpees, maybe I have you do 5 push-ups, 5 sit-ups, 5 air squats. I got your heart rate up. Right. I did something purposeful. We moved the body a little bit, and it's not damaging. You've seen people get hurt doing burpees. Hurt their wrist. Yeah.
I hate them.
Yeah. If I see burpees on a coach's card, I'm like, you're not it. You could have found anything else to do.
So let's go back. Let's go back to getting up in the morning. I think, like you said, once you get to the gym and you start making some movements, you're kind of like over the mental aspect of it, right? How do you silence the voices in your head that limit your potential? How do you do that?
Someone's depending on me to be at my best. There's going to be a time in my career, right, when I was in the military, and even now, there's a time where someone's going to depend on me.
Okay.
And if I'm shortcutting myself, I can't serve them. I can't, right? Because if I'm taking the shortcut for me,
yeah,
I'm easily going to take the shortcut on you. That's human nature.
You know, that's interesting because, I'm gonna make a left-hand turn here. So the show is about, glorifying God and how God can prosper you. And we've got, entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs, they don't create from scratch. They have somebody supporting them, like money.
Yes.
Entrepreneur from scratch, no money. Let's get it done.
Here.
I think I know what I would say, but you just started your own little business, right?
Yeah,
your merch.
Barbarian, yes, sir.
Yeah, your merch,
yes,
right?
Sir.
How does the discipline, the tenacity, and the silencing of voices in your head correlate to being successful businessman or woman starting your own company?
So I just started this when I moved out to California, and I say moved out to California when I first met you guys. The Bougie Barbarian had been a thing for years, right? It was a nickname that some of the guys in my facility gave me, right?
Oh, so they called you Bougie Barbarian?
Right.
Okay, I could see that.
And they were like, you should make that merch. You should put it on t-shirts. I'm like, I'm not into that. And more than anything, it was doubt. No one is going to like this. No one is going to believe in this. No one is going to want to buy this. I had to shut that up first, and that comes with my creator, right? I had to start believing in what he had been bestowing on me. This isn't luck. This isn't something that your parents were giving. He was directing me like, hey son, this is your path. Go for it. I got your back. And that's how this all came about. And it's still been some voices that you have to silence. It's still been some work that I'd never thought I'd have to put in, right? I've got a garage full of merchandise. I've had to sort through it, make sure shirts and hoodies look appropriate to ship out to people. We're shipping the stuff ourselves, right? There's a lot of work that goes into it. So if I don't stick to the goal, hey, we're shipping every weekend, right? We're shipping every Saturday, or we're shipping every Saturday and Tuesday now. If I don't stick to those goals, I don't accomplish the task, right? So it's discipline is still the foundation of everything I'm doing.
Discipline. Since you've been training elite guys, obviously you're training because, here in your bio, it looks like, and I keep hearing you telling me that the military gave you millions of dollars to create this training facility.
Yeah, the Tactical Athlete Performance Center.
Right. So you created it, and you obviously elite guys and gals go in there to train. Since you've been training elite people, right, and soldiers alike. What makes the difference between an everyday person and someone living at their peak performance level?
So let's take a step back. The Tactical Athlete Performance Center was an idea of one of my leaders in 2012. We're in the gym together. He's an elite level power lifter, but also in the Army. He's like, Donnette, I got this plan. This is what I want to do. And he's like, if you're still around Fort Benning, when I get the go ahead, you're the guy. And I'm like, cool. I finished my drill sergeant time. I'm at a post-master fitness meeting. And he's like, Donnette, come here. I got to talk to you. I was like, what's up? He's like, what's your next step? I was like, I don't have orders yet. I'm not on assignment. I'm looking for a job. He's like, cool. Do you want to be part of the Human Performance Optimization Program? I was like, yes. He's like, I got the go ahead to start this facility. We got some more research and some more proofs to do. He's like, but we'll be opening this facility very, very soon. I jumped on the team. COVID hit. He retires, and he gave me the keys. He's like, here you go. So we built this plane in flight. We have this $2.5 million facility with all the Sornex high-tech equipment, and we have nobody in it. Nobody. Because the Army is very much run, push-ups, sit-ups, and you have elite-level guys that are used to training their way and don't want to see anything outside of their way, right? We bring former Division I strength coaches in, like, hey, this is the way we train our athletes. What you guys do for a living looks very much like football. Get up, cut, jump, run, sprint, dive, all the things. So we had to convince the Army that this was the way to train.
And how'd you do that?
Well, we showed them their receipt for musculoskeletal injuries. It was $7.2 billion a year just on sprains and strains.
Oh, that the government or the military was paying?
Right, because of...
$7
billion, $7.2 billion.
A year?
A year on musculoskeletal injuries.
Holy...
That's overuse
That's
injury.
my money.
Sir, we're spending a year.
Wow.
And they didn't want to invest in proper training to nullify that. Now, all your special operations guys have had this licked for a lot of years. The Army was 20 years behind any established training facility, like you talk about Division I college or even high school athletes. We're 20 years behind them. We're still running and doing push-ups and sit-ups and thinking that's going to get us through combat, right? So we had to convince the Army, and that was the hardest part of that campaign, convince the Army that this training is necessary. When we could show it mitigated injuries, when it showed, hey, if this person injured their left leg, we can still train their right leg and the rest of their body. We started showing those modalities. They started to believe, and they started to come, right? You build it, they'll come. They started to come.
And they being...
The Army.
Okay.
I mean, I was in there on a Saturday by myself in a tank top and shorts, and the Secretary of Defense rolls up on my facility.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's a trip.
I'm making a phone call like, hey, I need everybody here. He's like, hey, we heard this was popping up. Show us what you got. I was like, I can have the full staff here. I can show you what the training looks like. And I've got some videos that I can show you guys too. And he's like, I'll be back. Make sure you guys are ready.
Wow. And so from the results of that visit, what happened?
He took our documentation and went, wherever he went, and we started getting more phone calls because the Army at the time was trying to develop something like this. We were the first ones to do it. On our post with the doctors and athletic trainers that I brought in off pure relationship. We got no approval from anybody. My sports chiropractor was like, hey, Donnette, you got anywhere that I could treat out of the TAPC? I was like, heck yeah, doc. He's like, I'll be there every Tuesday and Wednesday. And turned into him staying. Now I've got a sports chiropractor. I've got his athletic trainers. I've got a sports psychologist in my building all at once next to my strength coaches. So we can all work together, right? And we pulled this off just by, hey, I got an idea.
So what does that look like today?
It's still running. I mean, you have all of those assets under one building. You have all the schoolhouses on Fort Benning, all the leadership schools on Fort Benning, a lot of the host units on Fort Benning coming in and training, getting taught not just, hey, this is a workout, but like, here's why we do the workout and here's how you can do this workout in your footprint with your soldiers to make your guys more lethal.
So I'm gonna take you back a little bit. So I know that results are important. So you're working out. You've starved yourself for 30 days. You get on the scale and you lose 1 pound. And you've been working out. How do you continue to push every day when you're not seeing results?
For me, it's journaling.
Journaling?
Yes. What did my lift look like? So if we've got we got 3 sets of single leg squats, Last week, you did 35-pound kettlebell. This week, you're like, hey, I can bump it up. You did 4 sets of 8 with a 55-pound kettlebell. You're making improvements. You might not see it, right? We don't see it because we're our toughest critics. But if I look at you, I'm like, oh, yeah, he's made a change.
Got it. Now I understand what you mean. So what you're doing is you're recording. It's kind of like taking a before and after picture.
Yes, sir. But
Right.
now I've got it in document.
Right? So you take a before and after picture and you go, oh, shoot, I look great. But it takes a little while to you have the before picture and then you take the after picture. That might be 6-8 weeks later.
Easily.
And you might not see a lot of change. But if you put, okay, I did a kettlebell swing with 20 pounds.
And it kicked my butt.
And it kicked my butt in the beginning, but now, God, I could do 30 pounds. You might not see a physical
Absolutely.
change.
There's a physiological
but
change
there's
happening.
you may not see your body changing, but things are changing
Absolutely.
inside your body that you cannot see.
Yes, sir.
That's a good thing. So look, hey, if you're getting discouraged and you want to start working out, take a picture and put it up there and see what you look like later. But I think that's a good idea if you kind of go, I never thought about that. If you kind of go, well, I can only bench the 45-pound bar.
Right.
All of a sudden, I'm putting 25 plates on my 45-pound bar. Now I'm like getting stronger.
Right.
And that should help encourage you. That's a great idea.
And I would tell your listeners, understand that a well laid out training plan will get you the look. You just have to do the training. Let the training supersede the look. The look will come as long as you're training smart and effectively and you're recovering. The look will come.
I would say that the way your body feels is a huge part of how you would look at yourself,
Absolutely.
think of yourself.
Yes, sir.
Right? And then it has a mental charge to overcome, right? What would you say to the listeners that are watching the show that say, you know what, I'm gonna try on Monday?
So it goes back to that discipline building block, right? If you say you're going to start on Monday, hold yourself accountable.
Okay.
1. 2, go move your body. Just go move your body.
How?
Go for a 30-minute brisk walk. And I'm not talking about a leisurely stroll with the dog. Like, go for a hard walk. 30 minutes.
Okay.
Right? Experience what that feels like. And as that becomes easier, not just the walk itself, but getting up and going to do the walk, then maybe you'll lose some of that gym avoidance. Go into the gym. Go sit on the machine. They have a diagram of what the machine does. Try it out, right? And as that starts to become easier and you want to excel or you want to step up, go find a coach.
Okay.
Right? There's the internet is the best.
But if
and
you
worst
find
thing.
a coach, how do I know it's the right coach?
That's a good question.
Right? That's the curveball.
That is the curveball. So beginners and elite, you touched on that. A beginner, I can throw the kitchen sink at them. There's not a bad coach for a beginner.
Got you.
There's not a bad coach for a beginner. I can throw the kitchen sink at a beginner, and they're going to come back, and they're not going to need as much recovery time as someone that is elite, because the elite person is doing heavier weights, harder movements. They're accessing different parts of their nervous system, different parts of their muscle fibers that cause them to need more rest. A beginner, I can have him in the gym 5 days a week. As long as I'm not abusing him, he can continue to work out because his body, this is new. This is a new stress. The body's like, oh, we got to build now, right? Where this guy, he's already built, and his incremental better is 5%, when his is 10, 15, 20 every time they get a week in the gym.
Got it. Okay, so there's no risk of picking a wrong coach when you're just starting off. So I interrupted you. So you would say take a brisk walk, right? Would you suggest, after the brisk walk, after you become really good at that, what about putting on a weighted vest?
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all.
So if
I don't recommend running with a weighted vest.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people doing that.
That's crazy.
Most people don't have the running mechanics to run properly without any weight. So everybody listening, no running with weight vests, please.
So if I'm taking brisk walk, which is easy to do, not easy to do, but it's an easy, put your headbuds in.
That's it.
Right? Listen to some worship music or listen to some podcasts or a book to better yourself, whatever you're going to do.
Right.
but you can take a brisk walk, right? 30 minutes, you're done. You feel like you've accomplished something.
Right. Heart rate got up. You made a little sweat.
Right. So if you do that every day and all of a sudden it becomes easy, maybe you can go a brisk walk for an hour.
Yep.
Right. And then all of a sudden, okay, well, I only have an hour because I got to get going. Right. I got a lot of things going on. All right. Let me get a vest.
30-pound vest.
30
Start, and I would even say start small. Right. The problem with a lot of this fitness stuff is we've mystified a lot of it. It's go do it. Go walk. Go walk for 30 minutes. You got that done for a month? All right, here's a weight vest. Let's not go 40 pounds. Let's go 10, right? Incremental gains, right? Because if you went walking 30 minutes for a month every day and the walk was easy and I put 40 pounds on you, that 30-minute walk is going to be brutal.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's make incremental gains. And that's what everybody has to understand. This whole fitness journey is a marathon, not a sprint. There's no get rich quick. There's no magic pill. It goes back to that discipline building block.
Maybe, and I'm just trying to help you guys understand that it's a good place to start. So, you do a brisk walk, 30 minutes. That becomes very easy. Maybe put a weighted vest on. Okay, well, then terrain can change, right?
Absolutely. Get some hills, get some trails.
Right? Then now you're doing, maybe before you put the vest on, maybe you do the 30-minute brisk walk going up some trails.
Yep.
Right? All of a sudden that becomes hard, right? Then you go, okay, well, that's kind of becoming a little easy.
Right.
Let me put a vest on.
There it is.
Hit the trails.
There it is.
Right? Well, that becomes easy. Now my muscles may be ready to do some weights.
Right. And your confidence is ready to do the weights because that is most people's detractor from the gym. They're not confident enough to step in the gym. So give yourself some small wins, build up that confidence, right? Those discipline building blocks are starting to form a wall, right? Now you're getting somewhere.
Yeah, well, that's good advice. I can see that. Like I can even see, sometimes I use these bands.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
My favorite.
So the bands, they look cheesy, but if you can get educated on how to use the bands, they're causing, resistance.
And they're versatile. You can take them anywhere. I mean, you've seen it. I come to the gym with a sack full of bands. Like, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Right? And no one likes to see the bands once you've worked through them appropriately. We're doing that shoulder stuff. And you're like, what's going on in here?
Yeah.
Because you can load them in so many different variations. And you can move in your human, ranges. That band just adds resistance the further away you get from it.
Yeah.
Right? So you're getting a very, very similar workout to lifting weights without having to go to the gym.
All right. I'm taking these brisk walks. I'm sore. I'm sore to the point that I can't take the brisk walk tomorrow. I might not take it for 2 days because I'm so sore. How important is recovery, and what do I do to recover?
So recovery is the utmost important, and I said sleep is the number one, right? Because you can't repair any damage done to the body without sleep, without good sleep, without quality sleep. Right, put the phone, the TV away an hour prior. Make sure your room is cold, no light. Sleep. Sleep.
Hold on, man. You said make sure the room is cold.
Oh yeah.
Ruth puts the stupid thermostat like at 65 degrees.
She's doing what's right for you.
I'm freezing my butt.
She's doing what's right for you.
Really?
Yes. The human body recovers best at like 63 to 65. It needs to be cold so you can get into those deep sleeps.
Oh, my God,
hey, and
man. I thought it was like...
You ever put some socks on?
Jesus, man. So she was right.
Yes, she's been right. There are so many recovery tools, right? And again, it goes back into mystifying fitness. What you need is sleep, nutrition, and proper hydration. Now, with the discipline thing, right? Say you're too sore to work out. That's okay. Listen to your body. If your body says, hey, this isn't it, don't be so rigid in your discipline that it starts to become a chore, right? It's okay to take days off. It's okay to rest. But you need to sleep, you need to hydrate, and that's a gallon of water a day, and you need to be eating the proper nutrition. And don't avoid salt, everybody.
What about cold plunge? That's the biggest thing now.
Mystifying.
Right? Everybody's like, cold plunge, jumping into 45-degree water.
When someone finds me the science, then I'll be able to speak on it.
Because I'm hearing now it's releasing cortisol. It's a stressful event.
There hasn't been one scientific study done. There's been some studies done on brown fat and cold water and cold weather, but there hasn't been anything done that says, hey, cold plunge does X, Y, and Z for your body recovery.
So why does it make me feel so good?
Because it's an endorphin. You've done something hard. You chose to get in that stinking cold water. You chose it. And when you got in it, you're like, this is terrible. And you get out and you're like, look what I did. Look what I accomplished.
But I feel like I have more energy sometimes. Is it a chemical thing going on?
You're breathing deeper than you ever have, right? You get the, right?
Yeah.
You're breathing into your belly. You're energizing and oxygenating the entire body, which we don't do throughout the day because we breathe in our mouths, right? We breathe in our chest. We don't breathe in our belly. But you've also done something hard. And that's good for the soul. That's good for the body. That type of stress is good for you. That's why you get that runners or workout high when you're done. It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
do it. Do it.
Everybody does it. Like everybody's like doing it every day.
It makes them feel good.
I don't know, man.
It makes me feel good.
Okay. So you do it every day?
I do it a couple times a week.
Couple times a week?
Yeah.
Okay. So as far as recovery is concerned, rest, and it's
hydration,
okay to
nutrition.
It's okay to take time off.
Absolutely.
But
it's important.
But wouldn't that kind of mess with my head?
And it's going to, right? Because I've had the same thing, like, I took too many days off. But what you have to tell yourself is if I don't take these days off and I keep getting in recovery debt, I'll never get out. Right?
Yeah.
And I won't make any gains. So it's okay to take that time off, because if I get injured or I get sick because I've worn my body down, now I have to take more days off. Why not take those 2 days off, right? Maybe that third day I go and I'm a little sore, but I can work. It's not debilitating.
Okay.
What you don't want to do is put yourself in a situation where you're so under-recovered, not overtrained, under-recovered, that you hurt yourself or you get sick, because that staves off that gym time.
Yeah.
Take the time off on the front end so you don't have to do any damage control on the back end.
So how can our listeners find you? Do you have a website? What do you got?
So I have a Instagram for Bougie Barbarians. They can follow me on
Bougie Barbarians.
Yes, sir.
And they can follow you on Instagram.
Yep. And I post some workout. Absolutely. I post some workout videos. We'll get into some of the science behind some of the workouts and reasons why later. But if you're on the internet and you have questions, I'm here for it. Bougie Barbarians on Instagram. DM me and I'll answer the questions.
Well, man, thank you so much for being on the show, brother. It's a pleasure, man.
Always.
So thank you, everybody, for watching. Hopefully you got something out of this. Look, we'll have Rick on here. I got another friend, Jesse. I want guys to meet, because Jesse obviously has, his way of doing things. But thank you so much for being on the show. Everyone, thank you for watching. Again, I got to say, you're the best part of the Ed Fernandez Show. You have a great weekend.